In this way, the struggle of journalists is nurturing democracy in Pakistan, and this is not a small achievement. With these pluses, there are some minuses. There have also been a major reduction in the levels of murders of journalists in Pakistan since the UN Plan of Action galvanized Pakistani journalists and civil society to unite against the attacks. But murders still happen. Sometimes Pakistani journalists are not safe even outside Pakistan, like Arshad Sharif. The murders of only 2 journalists out of 53 journalists killed in Pakistan in the last 10 years have been convicted. And Pakistan must improve its capture and conviction of attackers of journalists. All the journalists killed in the line of duty, including Arshad Sharif, must get justice. And we are thankful to Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif that he wrote a letter to the Chief Justice of Pakistan for making a commission to investigate the assassination of Arshad Sharif. And last year, when Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif was in opposition, and our colleagues Asad Tur and Absar Alam were attacked in Islamabad, so he not only visited them, but also raised voice against violence against journalists. Now he is the Prime Minister, and we hope that he will try his level best to find out the culprits who attacked Asad Tur and Absar Alam. The Pakistan Journalist Safety Coalition thinks the following steps can dramatically help reduce impunity of crimes against journalists in Pakistan, so that Pakistan not only has the world's best laws on safety of journalists, but also the safest journalists in the world. The federal and Sindh laws on safety of journalists were unanimously passed by National Assembly and Sindh Assembly last year. The federal and Sindh governments must immediately notify the safety commissions under these laws so that they can be operationalized and journalists start benefiting from them. Laws were passed, but we are still waiting for the implementation. The Safety Commission must be provided funds, offices, staff, and technical resources to do their jobs. The journalists of Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and Punjab also deserve special laws for their safety, like their counterparts in federal and Sindh jurisdictions. The ruling and opposition parties must show unanimous support to pass similar laws in these 3 provinces immediately. The Safety Coalition is already advocating with these provincial assemblies to fast-track this process. The draconian Section 6 from the Federal Journalist Safety Law, which acts as a pre-qualifier for journalists before benefiting from the law, must be immediately removed. This Section 6 was included in the Journalist Safety Bill without our consent. I still remember that when we agreed on a final draft of the Journalist Safety Bill, I showed that draft to late I.A. Rahman Saab, who was the president of the Safety Commission, and this organization, which is the organizer of this seminar. And Mr. I.A. Rahman Saab was very happy, and he said that it's a miracle if it is passed in Pakistan. And Section 6 was not part of that original bill. We agreed on the bill in the Human Rights Committee of the National Assembly. All of us were present. It was presided by Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. He was in the opposition at that time. After that meeting, Section 6, which is a censorship clause, was mysteriously included in that bill. So we demand to remove that censorship clause in the Journalist Safety Bill. There is already support from both government and opposition parties for its removal, and this should happen quickly. Combating cybercrime is essential to safe internet, but this must not be an excuse to hound media practitioners. As repeatedly stated by the Honorable Islamabad High Court, journalists must be taken out of the purview of any restriction on online expression through laws such as PICA or other regulations. The federal and provincial government must announce support for an end to restrictions, attacks, and intimidation of women journalists, both offline and online, because without women's safety able to practice journalism, Pakistan cannot have public interest journalism. And I must mention the name of Asma Shirazi Sahiba, Nigat Dad Sahiba, and some other female journalists who are present here. And they are living example of courage and bravery, because they faced online harassment very bravely, and we must salute their bravery. The National Commission on Human Rights, the National Commission on Status of Women, the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, and the Pakistan Journalist Safety Coalition should form an alliance for this purpose. Ahead of general elections next year, all political parties registered with the Election Commission of Pakistan must include a separate section in their manifesto guaranteeing safety of journalists, freedom of expression, and right to information. We believe these widely supported steps can dramatically put Pakistan in the top ranks of the safest countries to practice journalism. In the end, I would like to thank my colleagues at the Pakistan Journalist Safety Coalition, especially Iqbal Khatak Saab and Adnan Rahmat Saab, for facilitating this conference, UNESCO, the Pakistan Federal Union of Journalists, and the International Media Support, Reporters Without Borders, for supporting cause of India freedom and safety of journalists throughout these years. And we are all grateful to the Prime Minister, Mia Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif Saab, and his Information Minister, Sahiba, who is not here due to a death in her family, for their gracious time and support for the journalists for Pakistan. Once again, thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Hamid Mir Saab. International Media Support is an international civil society organization that has played a very important role in putting UN plan into action. Mr. Lars Bestley is the regional director of IMS. I'll request him to share his experiences with us.
Your Excellencies, Honorable Mr. Prime Minister, the ambassadors of Denmark, Norway, and France, distinguished guests from a lot of countries in Asia, a very warm welcome. And to the host of Pakistan, thank you so much for having us today. It is indeed such a privilege to be here on this occasion. And we are gathered, as Hamid Mir said, to celebrate key achievements that Pakistan has made in good use of the UN Plan of Action on the safety of journalists and the issue of impunity. But we are also here to spotlight this very serious matter, namely the crimes against journalists and thereby also crimes for a free and independent media. In the last 10 years, 604 journalists have been killed globally due to their work. Several more killings have perished because motives were unconfirmed. But the fact is that the majority of these journalists were not killed in crossfire, but rather died as targets for their reporting. And most of these crimes goes unpunished. There is a lack of effective mechanism that can deal with this problem comprehensively, deal with attacks of killings of journalists. And this has led to a growing culture of impunity in a lot of countries globally. The plan of action was set up in response to this trend now 10 years ago. It has shown to be a very critical instrument to sum up global consensus around the issue, of not just keeping journalists safe, but also as a useful set of guidelines for who should do what to make this happen. It was launched in 2012 and is now 10 years old. And it's a good time with this 10 years anniversary to reflect on how influential it has been and how has it guided us and relevant stakeholders in taking the steps needed to reduce violence across the globe. And Pakistan was one of the 5 pilot countries for the initial implementation when it first was launched in 2012. And I remember numerous consultations here in Islamabad since 2013, when we together with several stakeholders came together to launch these efforts in Pakistan, and of course together with UNESCO as well as the leading UN body. Also other countries in Asia are battling with similar challenges, and several of them are represented here today. We have come a long way in improving the situation and in ensuring that every country that IMS is working in has mechanisms in place that can safeguard journalists and information workers, even though many challenges still remains. How this has happened and how the UN Plan of Action has influenced this endeavor in Asia, including in Pakistan, is indeed very much a story worth telling and also to be further examined. And that is what the purpose of this conference is about. So it will do, firstly, after this session, look at the findings of a new report that has been launched. This report ranks the performance of various Pakistani duty bearers, including the media, the government, civil society, international organizations, against duties identified in the plan of action. And there will also be a follow-up consultation with a broad range of Pakistani stakeholders represented today. We will also have more focused discussions in the afternoon with several other Asian countries on case studies and on the impact. And these countries, for instance, include Indonesia, Nepal, Philippines, Myanmar, Afghanistan, among others. Hopefully, the consultations will help surface key trends and lessons that Asia that can help each other to stay inspired and build upon these achievements. We also hope that it will foster greater horizontal collaboration and engagement among media and media support groups to keep media freedom and public interest journalism in Asia as key drivers of democracy and development. I myself represent International Media Support, or IMS, a global organization promoting professional and reliable journalism, safer environments for journalists, and public interest media that operates on a global consensus on open societies and democratic values. We have been supporting all stakeholders identified in the UN Plan of Action in furthering the objectives. They include UNESCO, national governments, media, civil society, and international organizations across the globe, and of course also in Pakistan. And in Pakistan, all these stakeholders have done well in terms of the collaborative spirit that is also promoted by the Plan of Action. So much that Pakistan has become the first country in Asia to specifically legislate on the safety of journalists. And that's quite an achievement. And this result has been possible due to the consensus in Pakistan, and now 10 years of consultation and dialogue among media groups and other important groups that have a stake in this. And it's not just a matter for the media, but it's also a matter that is relevant and important and integral to the whole mission of democracy. This is a vision we share, and it's now evidence of progress through broad, inspiring collaborations among Pakistani government, political parties, UN agency, media industry, journalist association, media development groups, and platforms, and some of them are represented here today, such as Freedom Network, IRADA, the Pakistan Journalist Safety Coalition, Digital Media Alliance of Pakistan, and the Pakistan Federal Union of Journalists, among others. Very crucially, this shared endeavor has also been possible through the consistent support of the governments of Denmark and Norway that have a long history assisting Pakistan in its endeavor for economic development and social progress, including for a free and independent media. And we thank them very much for their support. Lastly, I would also like to thank the government of Pakistan for showing commitments to the ideals of media freedoms, and indeed the representation of His Excellencies, the Honorable Prime Minister of Pakistan at this event focusing on safety of journalists is a clear and inspiring signal of welcome commitment at the highest possible level in the nation. Problem still remains, but 10 years of hard work has paid off, and we hope some of today's discussions will further the commitment of all stakeholders to overcome remaining challenges. This is a shared goal. Let's continue working together in paving the way for safer journalism. Thank you very much.
We are honored to have four great friends of Pakistan with us, who are also great friends of media in the world and in Pakistan. Danish civil society and Danish government has always extended technical support and knowledge to journalists in the world and in Pakistan to help them build their capacities and to promote their safety. Denmark is also Pakistan's partner in green transition and in green journalism. I'll now give floor to His Excellency Jacob Lee-Nulf, Ambassador of Denmark to Pakistan.
Thank you, and good morning. It is indeed a splendid morning here in beautiful Islamabad. But also a very, very important morning today. Your Excellency, Prime Minister of Pakistan, representatives of Pakistan Journalist Safety Coalition, international media support, my dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we are here today for a very important, vital cause. The 10th years anniversary of the UN Plan of Action on safety of journalism, safety of journalists, and issues of impunity. It is crucial to work for freedom of expression and a safe environment for journalists. That goes for my country, Denmark. It goes for Pakistan as well as for any country globally. It is therefore very close to my heart that Denmark and Pakistan work so closely together on exactly this matter. Let me highlight that the Danish Media Development Organization, IMS, as we just heard, co-organizes and work closely together with Pakistan on today's conference. Denmark backs community journalism in Pakistan. We have done that for many years, and our support goes to a growing ecosystem of media startups in the country, represented by the Digital Media Alliance of Pakistan. Our shared goal is a vibrant and independent community-focused journalism, strengthening inclusive and plural discourses, advancing democracy. In the spirit of our close cooperation, I would like to congratulate Pakistan for legislation on the safety of journalists. Pakistan is the first Asian country to do so. To me, it represents a state commitment to the safety of journalists. This remarkable achievement deserved large recognition. It proves that there is a broad-based consensus in Pakistan for plural media. I hope that Pakistan hereby inspires other countries in Asia to follow these footsteps. Ladies and gentlemen, there are many stories from Pakistan that needs to be told. There are many good stories, many positive stories. There's also sad stories. And Pakistan is, right now, while we are gathered here, experiencing a disastrous humanitarian catastrophe. Climate change results in devastating monsoons, melting glaciers, and shocking heat waves. Floods claim the lives of thousands, displace millions, destroy farmland and normal people's livelihoods. We are faced with a tragedy when it comes to clean water, food, and healthcare. This is a story that must be told. Actions with the global community must be taken. The governments of Denmark and Pakistan, we are committed to a long-term green cooperation. It spans from wind energy to green fuels in the heavy industries and much, much more. It also includes journalists. We recently arranged a visit of Pakistani journalists to Denmark to enhance the capacity of them and Pakistani media to report on climate change and sustainability. When I look at Pakistan, I see a beautiful country, beautiful people, great potential for social development and economic progress.